So there's actually a really good movie hiding inside Brave New World, but the thing is, it isn't a Captain America movie. It's a Thaddeus Ross movie, and it's a both tragic and cathartic close to his story. Look, Ross is someone with a deep history by this point in the MCU, and the key thing is he's been characterized by his anger and a dogged commitment to his idea of right and wrong, which has put him at odds with a lot of the MCU's heroes. But at the same time, while he claims to care for his daughter Betty, his rage and his actions have always pushed her away. And that's what leads us to the very first scene of Brave New World, where Ross has just been elected president. This is the crowning moment of his career, and yet the only thing on his mind, the only thing he asks his aide before he goes onto stage is whether his daughter had called, to which the answer is no, and to which we see his demeanor fall. And this begins to establish something new for this character in his 5th movie appearance, because we might notice that even beyond the fact that it's a new actor, he's behaving very differently in this one. He feels quieter, the rougher edges of his anger, his brashness have all softened, and we may look at his decidedly less forceful style of leadership and wonder, well, what happened to him? But then it is revealed that he was diagnosed with a fatal heart condition, and in the face of that reality, so many of his regrets bubbled to the surface, and chief among them was the fact that he was running out of time to make things right with his daughter. And so he resolved to change, to mute his anger, to strike an international peace treaty, all to show his daughter that he could change, that he was no longer the man that she hated. But he needed more time to do all that. And so he enlisted a criminal scientist to give him experimental pills to keep him alive, not for his ego or for power, but because he wanted more time with Betty. And that is why it is so tragic when, on the cusp of finalizing the treaty, we learn that the pills not only extended his life, but made him unstable. And in a moment of extreme stress, despite trying to fight it, his body erupts into a monster, a physical manifestation of the very urges inside of him he'd been trying so hard to keep at bay. And look, it's a loud, silly action scene here, yeah, but I think it is also really emotional if you view it in the context of the character's arc and how much of a failure this must have felt like for him. But then, when he focuses himself once more and as a Hulk remembers what his goal has been this entire time, remembers his daughter, he, not through the might of his new superhuman strength, but through the resolve of his damaged heart, is able to stop, to transform back, to resign from his office and choose to turn himself in for the greater good. And it's only after that, after all of that, after 20 years, that we finally see Betty Ross again on screen choosing to be there with her father, because now she finally believes she's seen that he has changed. Look, that to me is a beautiful story and the heart of this movie. But yeah, it kind of gets lost in all the things floating around in this movie. I think part of it is because this character was recast, and so because his face is different and he acts different, audiences might have just thought he was a different character. But the writing on Ross is actually solid, and I think the whole arc just really landed for me. But let me know what you thought, and don't forget to follow. Also, really trying to grow over here, and this is where I post stories and more off-the-cuff thoughts, so I'd love to see you there. Thanks for watching.